What is up, everybody? I'm No Lex Given, back with some more Fairytale Fables, back with a brand new season of Fairytale Fables, and I'm happy enough to start off this season with Sundiata Kiata, aka Gwen. I'm not sure if I've ever read this character's real name before, but this is Gwen. You get an Ascendance at the start of the game, and then if you reach below 8 or below 9 HP, you get one additional Ascendance. Seems pretty good to me. Let's pick it up. And we could go for a Smiling Sprout to kick the game off. I don't think that that's crazy. Gives us a lot of scaling stats. You know what? I'm going to go for it. I think that this is really a powerful card and worthy of a hero power, mostly because you can throw the stats on something else down the line. But now I just don't have to worry about nothing for a while. And I'm even going to lock onto Short Sword for the Econ plus Dwarfy, which it pairs off pretty nice with. They'll give me an additional 3/2 here. So I think this is a pretty dang good start to a game. Icarus not going to play anything, so they'll take some damage for that hubris. And we'll even find another sweet oranges. I could see taking a black sheep, but I mean, it's a 3/2 versus a 2/4. I'll just take the 3/2. This lines up slightly better against a parrot, but I think my opponents are going to have a difficult enough time battling through the Smiling Sprout anyways, though the Sphinx could maybe do it if they have grown their owl, which I assume that they have. Oh no, it's been backlined now. So they have not grown the owl. They're going to grab a tie. I guess they put a spell on it that didn't actually last, is the trick. Alright, double Bluebell here. Reasonably interesting. I think going for a pair is fine. I mean, there's also a pair of these talking frogs. Is that better? I don't know. I never play with this star shenanigans. I kind of like the minor potion. You know what? Let's just pick up a pair of talking frogs. I think that that's fine. Could sell off the short sword to upgrade one of these frogs. I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to backline both frogs so that way they have a chance of surviving while my bloomin' boy trades off with everything in the front row. That's basically what happened. Future Vision, probably not. Impatient Farmer, also probably not. Let's just throw in a roll here. We've got a Hansel, an Acolyte. I was thinking Young Fluff could be a reasonable card to ascend as well. I don't think any of these things are super impressive, so I'm going to roll one more time. We find another Smiling Sprout. That doesn't seem super useful, but I do think Young Kappa to kick the game off will be. Yeah. And I'll keep the short sword on the Bloomin' Boy. I would like to potentially find the evil character that gets to scale off these stats. Of course, the Kappa gets attacked into immediately, leading to a tie. But ties are fine. If we can tie some fights and find some ways to scale or gain XP, that is going to be pretty good. Because I am like rolling pretty aggressively here too. This is cash. It's not really what I'm looking for. But I think I will take a second Young Kappa, try to scale with this. Then I could cycle out the short sword, or I could just cast a Blizzard, which will pump up both Kappas to start the fight. It's not the craziest idea. Yeah, I mean, how likely is it that these talking frogs are going to be relevant anyways? I could have maybe moved some things around so that way both Kappas weren't touching each other and could have, in theory, gotten the full bonuses, but I think that that's just incredibly unlikely given the spread of characters that I have. We stopped the chameleon from slaying. That's pretty good. And is this going to be good enough to get a tie? Indeed, it is. Probably don't need the short sword on the smiling sprout at this point. Maybe we do something like this. Shield page is pretty good on a pair of Kappas. Might also just want to use calling it on a talking frog. This is the last turn of level 3. We've got a new U, but seems like a pretty terrible time to use it. Alright, and then we get a Kappa triple, so it all kind of worked out. Set permanent stats to 7/7. We have at least 2 free spaces. I'll go with this 7/7 one. There's maybe something interesting we can do with that. I imagine this probably activates before my blizzard, but I'm willing to find out either way. Nice. Okay, so it doesn't die to blizzard. That's good, and young Kappa gets some nice scaling on it. And that is not going to be enough to survive, so we take our first damages of the game. And then here we have the young yellow bark, finally. So I do think I want this. I'm not going to worry about a second smiling sprout. I'm going to roll and try to find something that costs 4. I don't really find it, but I can sell off this dwarfy. I think that that's probably reasonable to do. I also get to put young yellow bark here for a turn and get some bonus stats on it, so I will take advantage of that. And double fluffs. Yeah, I feel like I'm past that. Am I selling off both of them? I probably sell off dwarfy and then maybe like some of these weapons here as well. Making Radiant Fairy a 7/7 also is pretty nice, so I suppose we'll start there. And short sword's good, just as good here as it is anywhere else. This is interesting because I'm strong, but I'm not really converting that strength into something super noteworthy just yet. But hopefully I will be able to do so by getting some additional scaling in here. I take another 8 damage instead. Alright, this is good though still too. At some point this is a liability because I've pumped up everything, though I can start pumping up these. Yeah, let's start doing that. And looks good. Don't think I'll go for God Rays. Oh, well, I find another Radiant Fairy. Yeah, that's going to get in here instead. And could throw a Resolve on something. I don't hate it, but I'm just going to roll, try to triple the fairy, or find something else. I don't find anything here. All right, we're just going to have to go forth and prosper with this. I do have 2 really big characters in the Kappa and the Smiling Sprout, so maybe there's a way to make something cool happen with this. It's awkward if I wind up tripling the yellow bark next turn and I haven't made any of them a 7/7 yet. That's going to be a significant loss of potential stats, but it's just a better thing to give this +2/+1. I don't know, maybe it's not even. This gets a lot more stats out of this than this does, but the stats on this are doubled, so I don't know. Seems useful to go this route. Plus, getting more stats on the Radiant Fairies means that they could get some additional stats from the Yellow Bark, like we see in this scenario, though. Yeah, I don't know if that was actually relevant, but could have been. Oh, this Icarus is already dead, as Icaruses sometimes do be doing. All right, let's hit level 5. No mana now for the next turn, but definitely good to level up. And we could make Chameleon an 8/7 this turn. That's probably decent. Unfortunately, did not wind up using the Talking Frogs, but they were a 2.0 pickup. That's not super crazy. I actually do have more gold this turn than I realized. I don't know how that happened. I guess I just saw the Chameleon and was like, okay, I'm done. Just got excited. That's all I needed. Don't think I lock onto Hermes' Blessing. I think we just stick with this. Still not pumping up the young Yellow Barks, but what can you do? And hopefully the Chameleon gives me a good payoff card that I can then throw all of the stats either from Young Kappa or Smiling Sprout onto. We are definitely looking to build into a solid dog comp if we could potentially get a good boy here, or potentially some other cool options like a Phoenix could be strong, or maybe some other interesting tier 6s. The main ones that you want to get a bunch of stats on, though, I mean, really just good boy. But it's not like these stats are going to go away. We could always find a good boy for this thing later. Young Kappa was holding in there for a second, but will eventually go down. And we get a winning tie. Oh, and we got the Prince. The King Arthur, rather. So this character does actually scale with additional stats, but it's not like super impressive at the same time. I'll take another Chameleon. I think it's a good use of my gold this turn. Can't buy Succubus, unfortunately. So now I'm looking for a triple, and there she is. So we will pick up this Radiant Fairy triple and a tier 4 treasure. The start of each fight, your items' stats are added as food stats instead of other. Your characters with items. Interesting. I don't think that that's super good, super relevant. Turning an evil character good could be kind of cute. I don't know. None of these things are super impressive. We're not going to be level 6 next turn either. So I guess I'll just take... No, you know what? I'll take Odin's Ravens, and I'll see if we can roll into a relevant spell here. I do get to cast this for free. Oh yeah, we'll throw that there. Why not? And then we do have the Grimm's Twist. I like that. And then I guess I'm done. But Herding Dog now sets me up really, really well for finding the good boy, right? No, it doesn't even. It's not even that important. Young Kappa, quite large, going to keep the Succubus at bay. And we will wind up getting a win and I think a kill onto Treasure Hamster there. We can triple the Talking Frog despite not playing it in a long time. We'll do like this, that's fine. This could help the Chameleon slay, a nice little +3/+3 for 1 coin. Let's see what this gives me first. Even if I skip, it's basically fine. Yeah, an additional spell kind of works well with the Ravens. When you buy a character, give them food stats. You know what? This is a skip, I think. No. I'll take Library Card. There could be some fun spells in the late game. And maybe we will just use it to pump up the Chameleon And if so, that seems fine. Could take a succubus here. What am I actually angling for? I mean, XP, I suppose, yeah, that's what I was curious about. What would I do with the core fusion this turn? And I do think it's worth just throwing all these stats onto Radiant Fairy. I could choose to destroy the young Kappa instead. Young Kappa's getting +4/+4 turn. This is getting 4 health each turn. Just thinking, like, do I want to do this one later? I think the young Kappa's scaling faster. And I'll just pick up the Emperor to finish off here. I think that this should be good. There's a chance that the Radiant Fairy now stays alive longer than the young Kappa. Maybe I do like this. This way, the Radiant Fairy has a chance to land on the Chameleon, and the Chameleon was not slaying up against this front line anyways. Does grab the slay there, though, so that's great. And we kill that, and that is enough to grab a winning tie. Cool. So Chameleon turns into Dr. Frankenstein, and I can core fusion this Radiant Fairy again to just have a bunch of stats on it. Seems worthwhile. That's a pretty large Radiant Fairy. Grimm's Twist as a 0-cost spell is pretty good. Eventually I'll put these Radiant Fairy stats on something like a Phoenix. I think that both of these are strong. Let's see if this gives me any sense of direction. Oh, the good boy. Good boy. Okay, so I do think I want the Ascendants to come into play. And it's just a question of, am I taking Angelic Commander or Royal Phoenix? Oh, that's right. I could also lose some health and grab another Ascendance that way. That's interesting. But for now, I think I lock Ascendance, pick up the Phoenix, and then just buy this weak Monster Charm for a little bit of temporary stats. And I'm basically hoping Good Boy and Radiant Fairy land on the Phoenix or potentially the Emperor. Could put the stats here, because that's a lot more likely to slay. Sure, we'll try that out. I am going to get to a position next turn where it's hard to use the Immutable Idol, because everything's going to be bigger than a 7/7. But I think for now this Radiant Fairy should carry me a little bit longer. Okay, the stats landed on the worst possible card for them to land on, but I think that's still going to be good enough to get me a losing tie. So I do think Ascendance on the Good Boy is probably where we go. Now, if I have the opportunity to take all of these stats and put them onto the Good Boy, we'll definitely take advantage of that. That's just free. I've got enough real estate, or I've got enough, I've got enough mana. And this turns in character evil and gives it +2. It's probably not exactly what I want to do. Suppose we just do a little damage. This should be here too. I mean, I don't think this is good. I guess we could actually just do this. Oh, I'm out of mana. Because I drained. Oh, okay, I used the Sandstorm first. Whatever, I don't think that was like an important spell to be able to cast. So if we can find a way to give the Herding Dog a bunch of... Now, I'm over Herding Dog. I'd almost consider just cutting it, so that way Good Boy guarantees goes on Royal Phoenix and the Radiant Fairy and the Prince. But the combats are working out fine enough for me right now. I can new you the Herding Dog, basically. That's like a candy cane on it. I think that that's fine. Maybe that's wrong at this stage of the game. More stats on Good Boy is fine. I want to find some more synergies, though. Okay, that's a good synergy. And I need to cut this treasure. That's so silly. Not really set up to play Kiv. Give your characters 100% of their food stats. Yeah, that doesn't do anything for me. Kiv is actually fine. It's just the Emperor. But it's a ranged character, and it would pump up the Good Boy. Alright, sure. I think it's a decent use of my gold at the end of the turn. I'm not going to worry about this, because eventually I'm going to take the Radiant Fairy and put it all on the Good Boy, and I think that's going to be a huge power spike. The Emperor is probably one of the better things for Kiv here. I will triple the Phoenix if given the opportunity as well, just to get rid of this immutable idol. Rummaging seems reasonable. King Arthur could also possibly be good, potentially alongside Merlin. Let's lead off with a rummage, though. I don't find any way to pump up the Good Boy other than just, like, tiny buffs. Which I just think we can do better than. Another candy cane, sure. This is fine. We shrink it by putting it in spot 1. Okay. We can finally get rid of the shrink. Cool. That's actually a great pickup. Because we're looking to triple a 6 now as well. Another Kiv, eh? No, I want to see if I can find a Phoenix this turn. One less roll. Now I might have to be less greedy and throw in a Kiv. Sure. And we'll finish off with a minor potion. That's all we're going to do for now. I'm not going to worry about this. I do have a short sword on my bench right now that I should be playing on one of my Kivs. But not a huge deal. Phoenix comes back, and Radiant Fairy hangs on. This Kiv has a bunch of stats as a ranged character here. And that's going to be enough, actually, to grab a win. How many players are left in the lobby? Just 2 other players at this point. So we don't have too much time to find a mimicked treasure. I don't need first attack, even though I've got a bunch of mana. That's interesting, just because of it building towards a treasure. And then I'm given the opportunity to find a tier 5 treasure. I think I just want a tier 6 treasure at this point. And I think I can hold out for it. Okay, another good boy. So what do I got to sell for that? Potentially get out of these kivs at this point. And just play a front line full of good boys. If I sell all of this down, then I can pick up another good boy here. I think that's going to be right. I could have seen keeping one of those things and selling out of a short sword. Maybe I was supposed to keep both of those kivs. I do still have 1 royal, but I'm definitely royal light. But I think the mirror might have been better to hang on to. I was also thinking I might cast this milk in a bottle, but just gonna go for the good boy strategies. This is a very, very high attacking board. Can I battle through it? Stats onto a good boy is a good start, but will it be enough to let me finish out here? Large phoenixes, I don't think this is going to be enough, but I do think this might be enough to allow me to get an ascendance if it does not kill me. What doesn't kill me makes me stronger, and I survive at 1. Luckily, I found that health potion. Now I can make another upgraded good boy. I think that's probably going to be where we go, but let's see if we're able to triple off any of these characters here, maybe. Another ascendance. Oh, and the core fusion for me to put all of these stats onto a good boy and then upgrade it. Yeah, I gotta go for that. I think that's more important than this. Now I can grab any good character. Oh, it grabs the item too. That's interesting. Any good character, please. I might just have to take Guardian Angel here. Oh, I am up against the... Okay, I'm up against the Ghost. So we're going to take a little bit of... Turn a character evil. No, that's the opposite of what I want. We're going to take a little bit of greedy lines here. Oh, we find Corgi. That's fantastic. Yeah, I'll just play Corgi. Endurance Potion. I'll use this now. I shouldn't have, because I was hanging on to it so that way I had flexibility in 2 different tier 6 characters. Now I have to find the Phoenix. But still, the upgraded good boy has got to be really, really good for me. Let's see if we are now in the finals or not. We are indeed in the finals. So now I just have to find a Phoenix. Yeah, I made that really specific for me, didn't I? I could double this good boy's health. Who am I up against here? Yeah, I think I'm going to need more than that. Actually, Succubus is reasonable, but all of their cards have, like, unyielding. Let's not do that. This is actually fine. if we're planning on tripling the Phoenix here anyways. It's just cheap. And now I'm basically just looking for Phoenix. I could give this good boy an Ascendance, selling out of a short sword or two. Yeah. Okay. It doesn't have that much stats right now, but once this crashes in and then distributes its stats to a different good boy, this does have the potential to go wild. Could also sell out of this first short sword for just some milk. Some milkies. I think so. I mean, I have to win every fight, or at least tie them at this point. Getting in first attack is actually pretty strong now, so I'll definitely keep my eyes peeled for that. And I need to find the final Phoenix. If we can, we have a huge power spike. Oh, that was like the worst case scenario, because now I just wasted all of that gold. This good boy is still going to give plus 500 to all of these things in the back. And the Corgi grabs a bunch of stats. And when these Phoenixes resummon, they should be able to trade. No, my opponent's just way too big. And unfortunately, we get a second place finish there. Fell a little bit short. Unfortunately, unable to use the Baby Mimic. But ultimately, not a bad start to the start of the season. That's going to be it for me today. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'm No Lex Given. Peace.